Hi, my name is CP. I'm a physical therapist in Austin, Texas, and I'm here to kind of talk to you guys about posture and all of the things that poor posture can lead to. In previous video, I spoke about tension, headaches. Today, I really want to talk about upper back pain. Upper back pain doesn't get a lot of attention. Neck pain and low back pain does, which I will have other videos on, but I really want to target this T-spine and posture. One of the things we talk about consistently in the medical world are people who have forward head, rounded shoulders. This is Brittany, and she's going to be helping me out today. I'm going to use her to demonstrate a few things, talk about some mobility and some stretches related to posture. If Brittany goes into a good postural position, which is right here, nice and neutral, shoulders are back, her head and neck are in alignment, this is ideal. It's difficult for people to handle and manage because it takes actual strength, and a lot of people are deconditioned because we sit all day. Most of us anyway. Poor posture looks like this. So Brittany's gonna kind of round these shoulders. That's the rounded shoulder piece, and then she's got this forward head. As you can see, this neck has this curvature in it. Her chin is jutting forward. This thoracic spine or upper back is very rounded. That, of course, then consequently creates tension in the low back. So for this purpose, I want to talk about if the head is forward, and remember, it weighs 10 pounds. 10 pounds sitting on these little muscles. When it's in neutral, when I put her in a good position, those muscles can handle that. These muscles back here are nice and long and open. These deep neck flexors are strong and can hold this head. But as soon as you bring the head forward and round these shoulders, it's 10 pounds of added pressure for every inch your chin comes forward, and that's a lot. And again, I'll reference that in the tension video I did previously. Here, we want to talk about how this position of the neck now can create a lot of distress to this upper back. You've got ribs back here that tend to create pain and problems for people. If you've ever had that sharp pain breathing, or if you're just always kind of poking back here between your shoulder blades, or always grabbing your upper traps, these muscles also tend to become tight and dysfunctional when people start to sit like this. They say sitting is the new smoking, and we all totally agree with that. It is so bad for us, but trying to get people to get in good posture is really difficult. It's difficult for people to remember. It's difficult for people to hold and maintain because of strength and endurance deficits. So I'm telling you guys, you're gonna be so sick of me talking about posture, but if you could correct this, then we can get rid of things like neck pain, upper back pain, and low back pain. Now that we talked about posture, I wanna kind of talk about what these positions do to the pecs. Nobody talks about the pecs anymore, but the pecs are big, dominant pushing muscles, right? Sitting in front of the clavicle, in front of these collarbones. So when we go into bad posture, you can see that these shoulders round forward. That tightens and shortens the pec muscles. This is a big deal because now these muscles think, oh, maybe this is just where I'm supposed to live and where I'm supposed to be. So they become very dominant, short, strong muscles. But then what does that do to the opposite side, right? This is where now we have this dysfunction, and this is where pain starts to kind of manifest itself. So if we can be in good posture, bring these shoulders back a little bit, tell the pecs sort of the length they need to be so that we can be in neutral, then everybody, including cervical spine, thoracic spine, and lumbar spine, are all happy. They can do their jobs, the muscles are all where they need to be in order to manage the everyday life of sitting, lifting, pushing, pulling, sports, whatever it is you're into. So posture, don't forget posture. So now we wanna get on the floor, nice and easy, get your yoga mat out or whatever you need to do. I'd like you to be in this position where you're laying on your back, but bring your knees up a little bit. In a previous video, I went over some mobility that you can do for your neck, but right now I want to sort of focus on the upper back and these pecs. What you can do first to just check yourself, if you can see that her shoulder is a little bit high, these shoulders, you shouldn't be able to put a fist under there. It should be a little bit back. So I know she needs a little work on her pec, but also you can sort of take your hands and put them out, and then you want to see that your wrist and hand can touch the ground. Kind of show them what it'll look like if their pecs are really tight. Literally, your hand and wrist will not be on the ground, so you know that you really need to focus a little bit more on here. So she's got a little bit of tightness you can't see here, but you can see when you bring your arm back here, you can see that the shoulder comes forward a little bit. In order to address the pecs, though, we first want to hit the T-spine. So we want to go to the opposite side. Remember when she was sitting, you could see that big rounded curvature of her upper back. So we want to try to get that in the opposite direction. We want to create some extension, or at least find like a neutral position. So the first thing that you can do is get one of your yoga blocks again and prop this head up a little bit. That way your neck is not in extension. You want to always try to keep that cervical spine in neutral if we can. But in this first one, I'm going to just use a regular foam roller just to prep the tissue. So Brittany's going to come up a little bit. We're going to put it right in the middle of her T-spine. Her knees are up. She's going to lock these abs in. And then she's going to take her hands and put them right behind her neck. We call this a horse collar. This is to protect the neck from going into extension. We don't ever want the neck, show them, Britt, if you don't hold that, just to be like hanging out, straining, stressing. So the arms sort of hold it there. And all you're going to do is prep the T-spine, the upper back. You're just going to try to create a little bit of mobility, some movement in the joints. And a friend of mine calls this sort of brushing your teeth with your finger, right? You're just prepping it, you're getting in there. And then in a minute, we're going to get into those deep muscles of the T-spine and specifically target them, and that would be like flossing your teeth. So now she's just gonna rock back into extension, right? And just try to get a little bit of the opposite direction. If you've been sitting all day and the spine has been flexed, it needs to go in the opposite direction. It needs balance in the system. The problem is some people, if they don't have it there, they're gonna go here to get it. So Britt, show them cheating, right? You see how she just went to that low back to get this extension. We don't want that. I want you to really try to lock and hold this, and then just let that T-spine rock over the foam roll. You can also move to different segments. You can slide it up or slide it back just by moving your bottom up or down. And then again, you find a new segment that might be stiff or tight and just rock through it. Once you've prepped the tissue, now Britt, I'm gonna take this out. And if you wanna get a little more specific, we're using the MOBO system today. This is the Duo to target those muscles. And prop that head up right there, you're good. And this is gonna target the paraspinals or the erector spinae, those muscles that travel down the spine. These are the ones that get really tight and sore that everybody loves deep tissue massage to, and that's kind of what I would be doing with my hands in the clinic. But instead, you can self-mobilize. So you're gonna get the joints to move a little bit, but you get some pressure into those muscle bellies. So again, make sure your knees are slightly bent. And now Britt, come up. We're gonna put this right there. And she would sort of find that on her own. You can leave your head on this. Again, you wanna try to make sure that neck is not in a crazy position, or you can hold your hands again. In this position right now, it's just a little uncomfortable. This is a little more aggressive, but it's gonna be pushing that spine into extension and deep massaging those muscles while you're there. Now you can create motion with this as well. You can put your hands back there and show them a little mobility. There you go. You can come up now, sort of do that same thing that you did over the foam roll. But again, this is aggressive, so make sure you're prepared for that tissue to feel this point-specific pressure in those muscle bellies. Good. And then up. There you go. And then back. You can check your pec again, just with the T-spine alone, just sort of opening that space up. Then we're gonna go back, and now we'll target the front of these muscles, and I'll show you a mobilization for those as well. Okay, so now that we mobilize the upper back and the thoracic spine on the ground, then I want you to kind of get up next to the wall. This is kind of a cool thing that you can do to just check and see how much mobility you have in that upper back, or also where your pecs are. We call this a wall angel. So first thing you're gonna do is bring your feet out from the wall, 6 to 12 inches, sort of if you need to cheat, the further out you are, the easier this will be. And then you need to slightly bend those knees, so you're basically sort of sitting against the wall. First thing I want Brittany to do is flatten her back against the wall. So basically what I'm talking about is I should not be able to get my hand through there. So if you can slide your hand through there, you got to work on getting these abdominal muscles to sort of tighten and flatten your back. Then I'm gonna have her bring her arms up to 90 degrees. I call this field goal, or like you're gonna make a snow angel, right? You're here. And what we wanna see is that this bend stays, this flat stays, these shoulders come back, this elbow is flush to the wall, wrists should be touching, hands touching. That is good mobility. That's how we know the thoracic spine and these pecs are starting to open up a little bit. Now, if she had issues, what she would look like is this would come forward. These are sort of trying to reach back there. Her head would be tilted back like that, which we don't want, but that's how you're gonna present if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tight and restricted. So again, this should be nice and neutral. These should be flat. This should be flush on both sides. This should stay flat. So that's just a way to check yourself. Then if we want to go now, we want to target these pec muscles. So before we targeted the joints of the thoracic spine, and then we also pinpoint specific deep tissue, some of the muscles that surround the spine. Now we're going to take our MOBO tool, or obviously if you don't have this, then you can take like a lacrosse ball, a tennis ball. This is a little more cumbersome because obviously you're going to be much closer to the wall. But start with this, Britt, and you're going to try to place that in the muscle belly of the pec. Now for filming purposes also, this is a little difficult to do, so give me that ball back. And then what we like is the MOBO tool actually gives you some distance from the wall, so it helps create some leverage. So for this purpose, I want you to notice she's going to get in a staggered stance. And again, if it's the ball against the wall, that's fine. But here, you place that into the muscle belly. You do want to avoid females, breast tissue. You do not want to put anything up in the armpit, right? So you're just getting into that muscle belly. And then what you can do here is just that pressure and the leverage from the wall is already kind of what I would do with my hands in the clinic. I'd be putting some pressure through there. But now Brittany can actually take this arm. She can bring it up to the side, and we call this a pin and release technique, right? You're pinning that tissue and then you're sort of trying to get it to release by movement. You can bring the elbow up into the front to change the angle of how you're sort of manipulating the tissue of the pec muscle, cleaning that up. And then you can also come at what we call scaption 45. This is a very functional place that the shoulder goes. You can bend that elbow, you can open that arm up. So you basically can change these angles while you have leverage into the wall, into that muscle belly. So she'll mobilize that pec. You can pick some different places. Britt, sort of move it to a new spot that you feel some tension or some tightness in. Notice too that she's not like, arching her back. She's got this nice staggered stance, and that sort of helps with creating that pressure and leverage so you have control over this. Perfect. So when we're talking about getting into the pec muscle, we're talking about this muscular region right here. You do not want to get into breast tissue. You do not want to get into the armpit. So basically, if you put your hand flat across this muscle where your thumb is basically touching your collarbone, Britt, put your hand up there. That's basically, you never want to be lower than that. You don't want to be higher than this bone. And again, you don't want to be in the armpit zone. So stay in this muscle belly region when you are getting against a wall, whether you're using a tennis ball or a MOBO unit, to make sure that you stay in the muscle belly. So that's upper back or thoracic spine. That's a way to mobilize and to get into some of that pec muscle region to help you open up and get good posture. So don't forget, you got to be working on posture every day to get good at it. Thanks for listening.
We at Wellness Plus specialize in all things health and wellness, ranging from yoga and fitness to massage and ASMR. Whether you are looking to target specific areas of tension or want to enhance your general self-care routine, we provide the tools you need to feel better, look better, and live better. We have courses for every level, whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro. Our courses provide a wide range in difficulty to accommodate your evolving flow.
Welcome back to Yoga with Jess. We are going to break down some really essential postures.
We are going to rock out with some of the most essential ab exercises that you need to have the abs that you've always dreamed of.
I've blended techniques to help you connect with students, and you can be a rock star teacher.
Wellness Plus is available on Amazon, which you can stream from your home on your phone, tablet, or TV. Join Wellness Plus today and get your first 7 days free.